Sup, everybody? How's it going? This is Emilio Lopez, and I am here with Throwdown Draws. This time, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're actually going to be doing some drawing on paper. So, thank you for joining me, and yeah, we're going to draw some fun, do some fun stuff tonight. So let me just get it onto my desk. All right, there you go. That is it. Yeah, this is me. All right, so yeah, we're just gonna sit here and draw some fun stuff, and I can see your comments and stuff like that on here. I have to put my glasses on, obviously, but yeah, so feel free to ask any sort of questions that you might have about the artwork. What I'm drawing today is I'm going to be drawing Quiet, or Stephanie Houston as Quiet, for a fan who bought a commission from me but couldn't pick it up that day. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to draw it here for you guys, and then tomorrow or some point this week I'm actually going to ship it out to him. So it's all good stuff. So yeah, so there you go. So just a couple of more seconds. I have to put some music on for the background to get to get us copyright strikes on, and yeah. See you in a bit. All right. All right, I also started. Hello, guys. How's it going? Just let me know if you can hear me. I'm not seeing any. I'm seeing all kinds of stuff here moving around, so I don't know what's happening. I can't hear the music. Whatever, doesn't matter. We're here. Alrighty. Just testing. All right. Oh, good. You can hear me? Good. Good. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on with the music, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll just make sure I talk a little bit more. I think you probably hear what's going on in my background here, right? So that means you can hear Jossie.
I haven't said anything.
I know, but that's okay. If you want to keep talking, that's fine. It's good to have
Well,
some.
I'm watching something, so
All right.
you might hear me blurt some shit out.
Yeah, that's Jossie. Good. All right. You probably can't see my line art so well, I'm guessing, so that's okay. You can't see it for now, but when I finally get down to inking and everything, or do a little bit of more of a refined drawing, you'll see that. I tend to use a very kind of a hard, light ink. I'm in a lead for my pencils. Uh, Usually, the only reason why I use it is because it doesn't smear as easily because I tend to touch the sides of my paper. What I'm doing is a bust for a person at New York Comic Con. Let's see. Hold on for a quick second. I'm gonna get a charger from my phone. Maybe I can actually look at the Twitch comments through there instead of having to look across at my computer. Uh, yep. Oh, let's see. I can. Yep, I can see your comments now. So good. So this is actually not the first time that I've drawn Stephanie Houston as quiet before. I drew her for a print or a piece that was inside of one of my art book, Solid Zero, a while ago, and this is just somebody was just a big fan of the character and decided they wanted to have a drawing of her. Actually, I'm going to pull some reference. There we go. Yeah, and feel free to ask any sort of questions you might have, and I'll do my best to answer them. All right. So yeah, that's what just pulling this out just to see if I can find anything. Find some reference. Oh, there we go. That's the quiet page. All right. So yeah, there you go. Put that aside. You have no idea what you're doing?
I'm just mumbling to myself. It's like I don't know. I'm just bitter right now.
Oh. You don't want to work, do you?
Well, I don't want to work on this shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather do something that's more creative. It's just, I feel like I'm just wasting my time working on this fucking drawing.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's like I'd rather work on something that just feels better.
Hmm.
It feels better to me. It's not some weird ass fetish.
You feel warm?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Might be me because of all these lights. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to actually do with this character. So bear with me. I haven't fully planned this as a drawing as of yet. Hmm. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions, comments, and stuff like that, feel free to ask. I can see everything. I have my little my iPhone here out with the comment section open, so I can see what you're saying.
No, Minnie. Go on. I know you. Go do something. Leave me alone.
So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll talk a little bit about New York Comic Con that I was attending yesterday. Well, I'm doing a table yesterday and over the weekend. It's actually a really good time. I really like doing those sorts of shows because it kind of gives you a better sense of the folks that are out there, especially when you're working from home most of the time. You don't get uh, a good gauge of how many people might be looking at the work that you're creating. I mean, granted, you know, if you're on Twitter, you see a bunch of people favorite and retweet and all that other stuff, but at the same time, you know, it's much different than actually standing in front of the person that actually said, "Hey, I'll watch your work," or, you know, commented on your work or something like that. So I kind of like to do those sorts of. I like doing those shows not only just, you know, to make a little bit of extra cash, but also at the same time to meet the people that do you know, that are out there. Because a lot of times, you know, as much as you think that people comment and stuff like that,
The hell is that?
it's my phone. For some reason, someone's calling.
Like, don't call me.
I don't know who's calling.
Probably a telemarketer.
A telemarketer on a friggin' holiday? What's wrong with people?
Is that who it was?
Well, that was the 1917 number, but I'm like, I can't
Oh.
answer that now.
What? Do you know what area code that is?
That's a 917 number is New York. 917, 718, or 646 are like New York numbers.
Oh, okay. They got so many area codes. Like,
Yeah, there only used to be like a few in New York until, you know, obviously more people had phones, you know.
they have to account for the billions of people that live there,
Yeah,
or
like
millions of people.
yeah, like my dad's number used to be back in the day used to be in the Bronx used to be a 212 number.
Yeah. But now you don't even have to live in the Bronx to get a 212.
No. It's most of them 212 used to be like the Bronx and Manhattan, I think. If you have, remember Ghostbusters, their number was actually a real number and it was a 212 number.
Hmm.
They actually gave away a real number on Ghostbusters, which is funny.
Was that? Yeah, belong to like a person.
It was a number that actually went to an answering service that said, "Hey, this is the Ghostbusters. We're out of the office right now, but you know,
Huh.
yeah."
All right.
So like it was like their real number. It was kind of fun because it's rare when a movie gives away a real number.
Is it a functioning number now?
It was a functioning number.
I hope it belongs to a sex line now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like whenever they give away a real number in a movie, it's usually noticeable because all fake movie numbers begin with a 555. So it'll be like 555 4555, you know, something like that, right?
Yeah.
But real numbers don't ever start with a 555. That's why it was a big deal when you know that song 8675309. That song?
Yeah.
That was a real number of the girl, the guy who made that song. That was the original number of his girlfriend at the time that he was saying. So
Oh, was it? Did they were they did they break up and that was this a way
yeah,
of getting
it
back to
was
her?
yeah, that wasn't a breakup. It wasn't a breakup, but it was the number of his girlfriend at the time. And I guess they broke up or whatever. But he put her number in the thing, and then obviously people. That's one of the obviously people decided to call it because it was a real number.
Yeah.
Obviously also a bunch of people would get really pissed off because it's like he never gave an area code. He just gave the number. So anybody you just call that number and they just put their area code in. Whoever had that number was unlucky enough to get a random person go, hey, it's 8675309.
Because some fucking idiot had to dial the
he,
number.
he had to dial. Well, some idiot put it in a fucking song.
Yeah.
He put it in a dumb song.
Yeah, but that's probably early enough to where I don't know when did the song come out.
Oh, it was a long time ago.
Give me a decade at least.
I can't give you a because I can't remember. I know it's an old song, maybe 80s.
Mm.
So yeah.
Well, People do stupid shit.
Well, I'm sure he didn't think it would have any harm because he probably her number had changed
Well,
since
he didn't
then.
provide an area code. He
Yeah,
didn't think that people would still dial
he
the
would still
number.
dial it. Yeah.
But either way, you do dumb shit. Whether you put it in a song or you're stupid enough to go dial the number.
But people they want to do it, and that's what they want. When they see a number, they see the number, they're like, oh wow, I'm gonna call that, and then all of a sudden it's in some situations they actually put a real thing behind it.
Mm.
But that one was just like a fluke. He's like, oh yeah, I'll put it in a song.
Okay, no. Wonder if people are still dialing that number to this day.
People are still dialing. There was a study. I don't know. It was like a long time ago. They made a study of the most called numbers, like fake, like in like popular media, and that was one of them. That specific number, because you remember it too. Like if you know the song, you kind of remember the stupid. I remember the dumb number.
Yeah, but you're smart enough to not bother.
No, I would never.
Call
I would never call that stupid number because yeah, there is the what do they call it? The odds that it actually is somebody's real number.
But it's like, what do you expect to get out of it though?
Yeah, yeah. Like who you call this number? Like what do you get?
Like, are you prepared to talk to that person? Like,
And tell yeah, like so how'd you get this number? Oh well, I heard it in a song. What?
yeah, it's just like it's not like some people give out. There's that one guy who I think gave out his number because he um like if people were depressed, he's like, yeah, here's my number, just call me.
Mm-hmm.
And he would talk to a lot of people, but then he couldn't keep up because it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like you knew what to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was it's sort of an expectation. You were prepared, okay? But it's like I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
People are bored, and you're like, be stupid and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. People do what the fuck they want. I don't care. I just make sure my number isn't that. Do some hardcore, like, do an internet research on the phone number that you get if you change it.
Yeah. It reminds me of that stupid time when I was trying to call my uncle, and he obviously changed his number, and I had an old number. So this lady finally called me back the next day because I called it multiple times thinking it might be his number, and he wasn't picking up. And this lady calls up, like, "You called my number a bunch of times." And I was like, "Yeah, I was looking for my uncle. There was a family emergency." And she's like, "Well, this number is unlisted. Nobody should have this number."
It's like, bitch, the number is listed all over the place. You just don't know it.
Yeah, it's like, well, hey, listen, there's only a finite amount of numbers that you can actually use, right?
Right.
So
Numbers get
somebody,
recycled.
yes, yeah, and they get recycled. So somebody at some point had your stupid number.
Sounded like was she like an old woman or something?
No, it was some young white lady.
How do you know she was white?
She's a white lady.
Oh.
It was a white lady. No one should have my number.
It's like, well, someone does, bitch.
Yeah, well, somebody does, and
I got your number, bitch.
yeah, and no, and yeah. Well, I'm sure she was one of those idiots, is like who went over to the people. I want to make sure that my number is unlisted and no one has ever had it. And probably the person at the store said, "All right, yeah, nobody's had this number."
No, they probably just didn't care. Like,
yeah, they're like, here's your new number, whatever. I want to make sure I don't get any telemarketers. I'm sure that's what it all was. But anyway. I told her it was a total family emergency, and I'm really sorry that I called her multiple times, like at the time of night. But
sure she didn't give a fuck.
She didn't give a fuck. She was all pissed off and stupid. But
I've had people calling me saying, "Hey, you called me." I'm like, "No, I didn't."
No.
And my phone's in the other fucking room. Like.
No, usually some of those.
I even showed them, like, I even get people who's like, "Yeah, you texted me." I'm like, "Did I?" I'm like, "Oh." Or if I called, I'm like, and I even do a screen thing of my phone. They'd be like, "Yeah, I didn't call you."
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Yeah, I think there's a bug or something going on, like how your phone will accidentally not call, but like another person will call your number and mask it as another number.
That could also be a thing too. Yeah, but I checked the number that I called and it was exactly her number. So it was my uncle. My uncle obviously switched out, services or something like that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, in my case, I never called the person.
Yeah.
So I'm just confused as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Now it should have my number.
Really, no, just a simple misunderstanding. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, and I was, perfectly, I wasn't condescending or anything. I didn't even get pissed off at her. I just said, I'm really, really sorry about that. It was it was a family emergency, and I really needed to, get in touch with my uncle. And I'm sorry that I called you by accident so many times. And she's like, man, whatever.
Just about to ask you, and she's like, I don't care.
Yeah, she doesn't care. Well, you know what? It's because she's all stuck in her ways or whatever. Not, when people are kind of angry, they get irrational. You know.
Yes, I do know.
You don't think about it. You don't think about your actions and things like that. So, but to me, it also takes a person to realize that they were actually acting irrational, saying, "Hey, yeah, sorry about that. That wasn't."
Are you saying that because of what happened yesterday?
Yeah, I am. I did apologize for that. I'm sorry for I said it yesterday, but yeah. Mhm.
I'm just like, okay.
People get angry and it gets focused in the
I know you're
wrong way.
upset or annoyed or
Mhm.
I just tell my therapist, I'm like, yeah, I don't feel right when I get yelled at.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That is not the way to handle anger.
Well, at least you apologize. Shit. I've had people, just yell at you and don't acknowledge it.
Mhm.
It's like, wow. So that's why I'm used to this brushing shit off. Excuse me. That's why, nowadays, I don't answer my phone if there's a number
You don't recognize?
that I don't recognize, and they don't leave a message. I don't answer.
Here's a crazy thing though, somewhat related. You know that I think Google Plus had some sort of horrible thing happen where they lost essentially they lost a bunch of people's information. It got hacked or something.
How recently was this?
Like really recently.
How recently?
Like I just saw literally I just saw a report about it was about it like not long ago.
That within the week?
Yeah.
Okay, because I feel this is something I should probably know since I have a Google account.
Yeah, apparently they leaked a bunch of people's they lost a bunch of people's information. They closed it down, by the way, too.
Google Plus?
Yeah. Or they're closing it down.
Because nobody uses it?
Well, yeah, nobody uses it, and then the other thing is that they're leaking people's information. Granted, on Google Plus, we didn't. I did personally. I didn't have anything like personal information, like addresses or stuff like that.
But here's the thing: Google Plus is connected to your Google account, so.
Mm-hmm. Might explain why I was getting weird calls. I don't know. I kept getting these weird calls during Comic Con with like a robotic voice saying, "Is this Emilio Lopez? Press 1." I'm like, huh.
I did get a I think sometime I think the week before last I got a message from it was a robotic voice saying that they're the IRS and that I owe them money and that they're gonna start pressing charges. And I know good enough to be like, yeah, right off the bat this is bullshit because of the monotone voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the IRS isn't gonna fucking phone you.
Yeah, the
They're
IRS
gonna
never
send you a
phones you.
letter.
Well, here's the thing. Like, whenever I get those calls, when I used to get those calls, I wouldn't take them, but I would call the IRS just in case there was any sort of issues. You know, like specifically call them as opposed to just going through the number system. You know, like whatever their fake number system saying that is.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's obvious though. Like so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I wish I could draw these characters just normally. It's like God, like they're all distorted and looking like like some Akira shit, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like they're interesting characters, but why am I drawing them like this? I just want to draw a character doing boring ass shit for once. I want to draw them reading a book, going through their mail, filing their tax return, normal everyday shit.
Hmm.
Picking fruit out of a picking apples out of a fruit stand.
Oh, hey, thanks for the little thing there. I don't exactly know what you guys did. Maybe it was a favorite or a watch or whatever. I don't exactly know which one of it was. Thanks a lot, guys. We really got to get some of those noises set up so that at least we kind of know which one it was. Twitch has these little like fun little icons and things that you can have pop up whenever somebody favorites or watches or something like that. But it always kind of has the same kind of like warping noise.
Like that.
No, that would actually help if it was somebody burping. Hey, Minnie. Hey, what's up? Hey, what you doing?
He's looking up on you. Oh, he sees me. Hi, Minnie.
He might want to get on you.
Hi.
He's sitting right next to you. He's like, hey, what's up? I see you have a nice lap that I want to lay on.
He wants the warmth of my fat thighs, but it's not gonna happen. You can sit on the ground, Minnie. You're looking for a way. You're gonna jump up here regardless. It doesn't matter. Yep, see? Minnie. You know I'm gonna kick you off. Come here, let me give you some love first, because you're a cat, and cats get love. And you are buzzing. Because you're a buzzing cat. You remind me of some cinnamon. Why do you remind me of a cinnamon roll? Go on, Cinnabon.
Hey, we got 5 people watching us. Thank you very much.
Konami.
Yes, dear.
Left a card. Oh, sounds like we got in trouble. Wait a minute, didn't I have some of this? Oh, excuse me. Okay. What's going on?
Wow. Damn, that's loud. Hmm. Looks like you guys can see it pretty well. I was just making sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. Yeah, looks good. You may notice that the paper that I'm using is actually not fully white. You'll see why in a little bit when I finally start to ink this thing. Here's a good question. Well, I think it's a good question. What made Kojima pick Stephanie Houston to play the role of Quiet? Was it her ability to speak both Japanese and English, or was it, was he a fan of her modeling work, or what was it? Was there like an audition or something that they did with her?
I can't tell what any of this is. I'm gonna leave it like that. Watching that TNG book.
You watching that TNG? Hey, kitties, what's going on? What are you stomping around for?
Because it's time for food and it's time for them to act up. Because they're awake.
They're awake.
I noticed that, like, when they're awake, they start running around. Like when they woke up. I'm watching Star Trek, like the early Star Trek, and it took Brent Spiner like 10 episodes to get at least start getting the emotions thing down. The lack of emotion, because like I wasn't buying that he was an android. Now he's this, he's a creepy person. Okay. Mommy's concentrating.
Yeah, I'm concentrating. Is that even the right one? Yeah, all right.
Wait a minute. Oh, why the fuck is it on this episode? You know, the one where they go down to the planet. Like, I already seen this, like, yesterday. Like, the one to go down to the planet and everyone's, like, it's like some weird love planet. Where people barely wear clothes. And then Wesley gets capital punishment for stepping on some flowers. Receives capital punishment.
That is such a stupid episode. I hate that episode.
There's a lot of dumbass episodes in this very early on the first series.
Yeah, they was playing like space football, and he goes flying into like a little mini greenhouse.
Yeah.
I think it's like nobody even like in that episode. Nobody even wonders like, oh my god, are you okay? Did you fall it? No, it's like no, you vandalized our roses.
Right, Wesley had to say, yeah, I'm fine, because people are like, oh my god, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. And they're like, no, you stepped on the plants. And I'm like, damn. I guess they were concerned because he's about to get the death penalty.
Yeah, well, yeah, there was also that part of it where it's like he's they're gonna like give him the death penalty, and then I like the way how nonchalant they make it too. They're like, well, we'll just kill him, and and that's it.
Like, what is this, poison? You're like, yeah, it would have been painless. I'm like, what?
Yeah. That's why because that's why their society is so perfect. What they did is they have like they have a zero tolerance plan for people that are that break the law. So it's like you could steal something dead.
That's why everyone else is to set an example for everyone else.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So.
Oh shit. I was like, what are they wearing? Oh my god.
Yeah, I always felt like anything that's not a Star Trek uniform in the Star Trek shows always looked horrible. Like you ever look like just seeing Picard's like normal clothing, it's just like, wait, is that what you used to wear when you were just not a captain? Just that lousy like fluffy shirt tunic thing?
Yeah, like he either wears that or he's wearing this weird velvet like, the shiny like robe. It's like what? Like
Yeah, all the people's normal clothes looks horrible. Like it just. I remember in the original Star Trek, the movies, like they were also their normal regular clothes kind of looked stupid too. Like these weird robes and things that they would wear. It's like ugh.
it looks stupid.
Mm-hmm. It's like Kirk, do you just not have style outside of your Starfleet uniform?
No style at all.
I feel like even in the future, people will still be wearing dumb blue jeans and junk like that. Like it wouldn't be that much of a jump. Maybe with some additional stuff, but not like that far. Like where just everybody's style just totally just mysteriously changes around. So I'm getting close on this one. I just want to do a cleaner, like a more detailed sketch as to what I want. Those cats are getting into some trouble. What was that about?
I was hoping to scare him and jump up in the air, but it didn't work this time.
They expect you to do stuff like that now.
Not all the time. Come here, Biggie. Biggie! Got me a big old fucking cat.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look outside, Biggie.
Hey.
Kitty ball. Oh, there's the other one. He loves your package.
Yeah. Well, that's your package. And remember, that's the Biohunter poster.
No, it's not.
It's
It's the.
I know it's something.
No,
It's
it's
your
not.
animation cell or something.
No, I still have that. I have that in the It's still in the original envelope. Gotta get that framed.
Yeah, I got like a lot of things framed. Yeah, I know.
Kitty ball. You're gonna get mad as fuck. I'm gonna put you away. I know.
What's up, people? How's it going? Everybody out there, what you guys doing anything? Let's see. We got about 6 people watching, so yeah, come on, guys, ask some questions. Word up, Throwdown. What's up? We are Twitch affiliates. Woo! I don't know what that means, but it's cool. It means that most of our live streams will be heading to Twitch itself. So you guys are gonna make sure you keep an eye out on our Twitch, because we're gonna have a lot more live streams and things like that for you guys to check out. And also remember that all the live streams will eventually appear on YouTube, but that's about 24 hours later. Sub Riku. You planning to jump on to do some Kingdom Hearting? Ooh. Exclusive. Exclusive. We got the exclusive right here, son. So how are you enjoying the game so far? Kingdom Hearts 2. Is that the Wii Fit trainer? You know, it's funny because quite the Stephanie Houston does kind of look like the Wii Fit trainer. He's just taking paint her white. No, it's not the Wii Fit trainer. Though it'd be interesting if somebody did commission me for that. Now somebody has to mod the amiibo to look like Quiet. No, it's Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5. Somebody commissioned me to do this on Saturday, but unfortunately they were not going to be in the next day, the following day to pick up the drawing. So it was a sort of a take-home assignment. So what I'm going to do is once I'm done with this, I'm actually going to ship it out to them. I have their address and everything. But what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to refine it enough to where I can excuse you.
Sorry, that came out. I just drank a lot of water, so like I don't know. I didn't even think I did that because I'm like reading at the same time. I'm reading something. I'm like, oh wait.
So yeah, if any of you guys are New Yorkers and we're in New York Comic Con, thanks for showing up and showing your support, and also to the fans who have thrown out who actually showed up and picked something at the table and said what's up and all that. It's great to see you guys. It's always awesome to see you guys. So if you missed me at this year's New York Comic Con, well, I'm gonna be actually back in New York come November for NY Anime, which is at the Jacob Javits Convention Center as well. Last year, I did it for the first time. It was also the first year it had ever been done, and it was actually a really great show. I had a lot of fun, and I got to meet some really awesome artists. Some from from the States who draw in the kind of anime Japanesey style, but also some official real manga artists. They had who were doing the artist alley as well. So it was. I got some. I have some. I think, yeah, I can show you some of that stuff here. I could show you a little bit. But yeah, got to meet some really great people. Does Quiet have a shoulder strap? Like for her sniper rifle? I almost feel like she does. This is like a bust. I kind of want to give her something just across the here. It might be cool. But I don't know if she's got like if her gun normally has a strap on it to kind of, she could put it over her shoulder, but they sometimes show her with it. So let's see. I'm gonna look up some reference. Hmm. A world of sound effects. That's our world. Her hair tends to be a bit more flat, I notice. Let's go a little lighter. What's up? Got yourself some water?
Yeah, got myself some water. Taking a little break.
Take a break.
Yeah, just messing around with my journal.
Also, guys, if you have any questions or comments, make sure, drop a little comment in there. I see there's quite a bit of you watching in there in the world of the internet. About 3 of you. So yeah, feel free to keep the conversation going. Say some stuff. It'll be like, one of the comments will be like, "This sucks! I hate Metal Gear 5. Why would you draw this?"
Because it was paid for.
Yeah. I figured I'd share it, why not while I would do it, as opposed to kind of keeping it to myself. When I usually work, I tend to jump to different parts of the drawing rather than just focusing on one part. I tend to go jump around to different things. So like you'll see me draw a little bit of an arm or a little something else. Guess you guys are wondering what this is. This is an electrical eraser. I know you're gonna say, "Oh yeah, you're lazy."
My boss told me that.
You're lazy for using one?
Yeah, because I had one of those when I was drawing at work before my shift started, and she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's an electric eraser." She's like, "Wow, you gotta be real lazy to use one of those," and I'm like, "Ha, thanks, bitch." Like, it's like, yeah, that's not the point of this. The point is to get in those little tiny areas that you can't get with the normal eraser.
Yep.
Because if you did, like, you would just end up erasing that whole shit. Like, it's a delicate process.
Yep.
And yeah, she was a fucking closed-minded ass anyway.
Well, obviously people don't know how this stuff works. They're gonna comment and not it.
Well, it's always whenever someone says something just
it's usually
crazy, I think of it as just a reflection on them. Like
it's usually ignorance, actually, right?
Yeah, but it's I don't really take a like back then I did, but now it's just like you know what, this is just a reflection on how closed-minded you are. Like I don't even let it bother me.
Yeah, she doesn't know. She never will know. I mean, especially when you explain it to them. So you know, I mean, I've had this. I haven't had that happen before, but I had people say stuff, not about the art, but just in general. Oh, looks like I'm out of lead. Let's see if I have any more. I think I do. I think that's it. No, it's 5. You guys might see me end up using another pencil because I don't know. I don't think I have any lead here.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, that's the 2H lead. You can see right there. The pencil I'm using is a 3mm, so it's really thin. I kind of like having thin pencils. So let's just fill this up. There you go. Yeah, you can get in those little crevices with the eraser. One of those erasers. I used to when I first time I actually saw one of those was actually when I worked in an animation studio in New York City. It was you've seen it, right, Jossie? You remember that big electrical like rotating electrical eraser I had? Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, that one looks like something, but I won't even mention it.
Yeah, that one. That thing.
Big ass one.
That one is the first time I had ever seen one of those, and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing! It's like you can clean up this stuff really quickly without having to, you know, do much work. You get really close to the line and kind of refine stuff. Yes, it does. It does have a specific look that that we shall not mention. But I'm guessing you people on there can kind of guess of what.
Come on, they're mature enough.
Okay.
Something. Oh wait, no.
Oh, so I see some comments there. Let me just pull up my my information here so you can see. Thanks, exclusive Teddy Lovers Club. Yeah, you should check. You should definitely check it out. This is on this one is this electrical eraser is actually by Sakura. Uh, they're a really great company as far as like just supplies and stuff. I use a lot of Sakura stuff. They make the microns, right, Jossie?
Yeah. Unless their name changed recently, because I haven't been up to date with art supplies. So
No, Sakura stays the same. Actually have a friend that works for them or has done work for them, and she kind of goes around at conventions showing off the new products. They have a really cool new brush pen.
You're like, hey, hook me up with one of
those. Don't worry about it, Teddy. I get your name. It's all good.
What's his name again?
His name is Executive Teddy Lovers Club.
His name is Teddy Ruxpin.
We're just gonna rename him to Teddy Ruxpin, something nice and
He's Teddy Ruxpin now.
He's Teddy Ruxpin, nice and PC for the kids. For the kids. Yeah, definitely. Check it out. Sakura makes some really good supplies. There's also a couple of other companies that make these sorts of erasers. One thing to know though, you can't actually mix and match a lot of these erasers because they use specific erasers that you can buy inside of them. You notice here. Sometimes they discontinue these things, and then they change the size of the eraser. There's another company that, Jossie, there was a blue one that you had, right?
Yeah, Statler.
The Statler one has a different sized eraser than the Sakura one. Statler makes microns, as I remember, right?
No. Well, they do have their own like ink pens, I think.
Okay, so let me see.
Which I heard is pretty good.
Okay, this is a micron. Yeah, micron is made by Sakura, and there was a Statler one, as I remember. Excuse me. Tony says, "We don't want to get you don't want to get us in trouble." I guess if it was something, I guess I said.
What?
Oh no, I guess it was something about the guy's name. I don't know. Oh, or the or the fact that one eraser looked like a specific person's a specific device used on people.
Oh, come on, that's too vague now.
Oh, the dude's name.
Remember when I mentioned that thing like in the Matrix, like when you get like a YouTube strike?
Mm-hmm.
Those things those squid things that are like chasing the Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out for those.
Yeah, we're not doing YouTube right now. We're actually doing it on Twitch.
Oh.
And Twitch is a little bit cooler about certain things.
So I can say vibrator and it won't matter.
No, you can't probably say that. But this is an adult stream, though.
Oh, so what the hell, man?
Hey, you want to keep it good. You gotta keep it for the children. No.
Oh, come on. You're drawing a woman who's has half her titties out, okay? Like, and is wearing skimpy shorts. I think it's fun. You can say
it. Skimpy shorts.
Unless it's a different one. I don't know.
No, it's quiet. It's the one that has the tube the revealing top.
She's the one that got the feminists up in a rally, right? I don't know.
No, actually, she didn't at the time. Though the people were commenting on how she was. Some people commented at the time that it was, considered some sort of objectification or something.
And then the Japanese are like, "What?" So they're probably like, "Who gives a shit?" I don't know. It's just a character design. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that women will instantly be objectified.
Sort of a slippery slope when it comes to this sort of stuff, because obviously in Japan they're not as antsy about it, but over here it's a lot more, you know. Yay, dogs barking.
Oh my god. I think you should have I think we should have just opened the door while that thing was running around.
Just let it run outside. Yay! Oh, we thought he looked like he wanted to go outside. Oh, so sorry.
Oh no, you just be like, what dog? I don't know. I went out the back. Like I didn't open the door.
That's would just be like total lie.
Oh, I would lie so much. Like I don't care. I have no morals. It's like let's just do it.
Oh, what are you talking about? I don't see any dog. It's horrible.
Like what?
Well, they need to keep they need to keep an eye on their dogs. Well, letting them running around in the hallway. Come on, guys.
Oh, by the way, I've actually when we first moved here, there weren't any reviews on this place. Nearly 3 years later, I decided to look up, and I found some reviews for this apartment complex, and there was things specifically about this building.
Oh, good, great.
Building. And I'm like, oh, because we know people who have just moved out.
Yeah.
And they complain about this place to us, and we're like, yeah, and they move out, and then I see the reviews, and I'm like, yeah, I think I know who left this.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's so. I can't say the building's bad. It's just the fact that it's just like there's some people. There's some people that just
Some people.
there's just some people that just don't. Let's just say they take the freaking streets with them.
Yeah.
Just because you move out in the suburbs, you know, you need to leave the fucking streets back where you came from, because
Yeah, it's like this place was voted best neighborhood 10 years ago. I wonder what happened.
mm-hmm. Don't bring the streets with you. That's the what do they call it? The comment of the day.
Like, what is it? You can't. Shit. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, when
Some comment which is true.
don't bring the streets with you. Thanks a lot, Mr. Teddy. I wish we did, you know, we try to do good work and keep you guys entertained. Hmm? Yeah. And you get a guest appearance of my girlfriend Jocelyn.
I'm always a guest appearance. Like, I'm always there.
Yeah.
Whether I'm laughing, farting, or belching, I'm always
there. You're like, I'm always there.
I make a special appearance every time.
You'll hear some random laughing in the background during an episode of Throwdown. That's usually
I'm the only
Jocelyn.
other person who's here. Like,
yeah, there's nobody else here. Maybe some cats are making yowling noises at weird times.
Yelling noises or fighting.
Yeah, feel much better about the face this time around. Now let's just try to get this hair good. We're gonna start. I don't like to ink. I don't like to get too tight on my drawings, because I like to draw when I'm inking. A lot of times what happens when you, at least for me, when I get too tight, I tend to it looks more like a tracing as opposed to a new drawing. So I'll try to get as much done in this form, and then after that I'll go in and ink, and then we get nice. It's the eraser. Just cleaning some stuff up. This is her arm that's covered in whatever the heck it is. I usually put little X's sometimes when I'm going to do some blacks on the inks, trying to spot my blacks. Get everything nice and clean. What I'm gonna do is this is all gonna be it's just gonna be full black hair, but I'm gonna go in and do some it's gonna be a little bit stylized. A little bit stylized.
How does it feel to draw?
I mean, I got to draw a lot at the convention. I did about.
Okay, let me rephrase it. How does it feel to not color?
How does it feel not color? It's always good. I mean, color work is automatic at this point in time, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, I've already have my set way, at least for the project I'm working on. I have my set way of actually coloring, and I just kind of just implement it. That's all it really is at this point. To the point where I'm actually not even thinking about the actual color work that I'm doing anymore. It's just so automatic. Sometimes there are points where I kind of, I need to actually think about it, but no, most of the time I'm just implementing. Color takes a while to do too. That's the one thing I wish there was some way to kind of speed up the process a little bit, but you still got to slog through it.
Oh, someone's crying.
Is that a kitty?
Yeah, I put him in the crate because he's running around like an idiot.
Oh, okay.
Wait for a little bit because I gotta at least do something here. Like, he can wait. I gotta work on my shit.
Man.
It's like a little pathetic cry, but it's like, like, it'll be fine.
Was it Bigum or was it Minnie?
Oh, that's Bigum. Bigum's cries are very, like,
Baby-like?
very baby-like, despite him being a 20-pound cat.
Mm-hmm. Man.
You hear him.
Mm-hmm. You guys probably can't hear them.
They hear the jazz music.
They probably hear a little bit of jazz music. Tony said it was light. It wasn't like taking over everything, which is cool.
What, the jazz music?
Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't louder, and it's like, it's jazz music. Like, you don't want to blast jazz music.
Oh man, Mr. Barry Burton gave us some bits. Whatever bits are. Please explain what bits are, because I keep seeing bits, on other people's podcasts and Twitch streams. So, what are they? What do they do? Are we getting bitcoins? I don't think we're getting bitcoins.
Star Trek. Yeah.
Oh, I'm seeing a bunch of icons show up. Oh, I see a Destructoid robot.
Oh god, this is the episode where they're on the matriarchal planet.
Oh.
Oh god.
Okay, 1 bit equals 1 cent. Yay, 1 cent. Awesome. We're making money. What do we do with all that? What do we do with all those bits? Thanks for the bit. Learn things every day. Here's the funny thing. I don't actually watch a whole lot of Twitch. I did watch for a while. I was watching the voice actor that played 9S on Twitch for a bit, he's a voice actor. I can't remember the voice actor's name, but I was watching his streams which was actually kind of cool because he was doing like he'd play through some RPGs, but being that he was a voice actor, him and a bunch of his other buddies would come in and read all the things as if they were voice acting for a real game. So they'll play like, let's just for the sake of conversation, they were playing what's that shit over that game? Like Fire Emblem, because I think he was the voice for Fire Emblem, for one of the characters in Fire Emblem. So what they would do is they would read all the text boxes in the game. Interesting. So you get bits from you get bits from watching ads. Oh yeah, Nier is an awesome game. Nier Automata is an awesome game. But yeah, so yeah, the Twitch, the voice actor of 9S was essentially playing games and just reading all the text boxes for games in his in whatever voices. He also did Nier Automata as well. Like he read because as you know, like if you play Nier Automata, there's portions where they're not voiced. So what he did was he would read it in his 9S voice, or he also had the voice of 2B, who's also like a good friend of his, also over just to read the 2B stuff that was said, which is kind of fun. So it was fun, kind of fun, just like. And then another thing they did, which was really cool, they all got together and read these kind of novels that were written. Yeah, it is a creative stream idea. So all of his things are just like he plays a game, but he'll like an RPG or something like that, and then he'll read all the text boxes and whatever voices. So he did all of the original Nier, and he kind of made up a voice for some of the characters. Then read all their stuff as well. I wish I could do that sort of stuff, but I can't really read that well. I have dyslexia. I could do some pretty decent voices, but I can't. I'm not good at reading on the fly. I have to pre-read before I read. You must read what you must read. All right. Let's see how many folks we got watching today. Let's see. Oh, we got 7. Nice. One thing I tend to do whenever I draw a lot, I tend to concentrate a little bit more on the face because I know, in general, people just kind of concentrate on faces. As you know, like have you ever seen like faces and like your imagination as far as like looking at like things and you see like a face in it because of our brains are kind of programmed to kind of move toward faces or and stuff like that. So a lot of times what I tend to do is like the first thing that I tend to concentrate on is the actual face, and then I try to work downward and get everything else done. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna pull up some. I have my phone on the side here, and I'm just pulling up some reference here. Gotta try to get. Yeah, I'll show you guys. Kind of get what she kind of looks like a little bit. It's helping. Granted, one thing about her, I can't say she has a hard face to draw. I just want to say one thing is that she has a kind of a good every kind of not every person face, but you can obviously tell it's her. But it's kind of a face that you can kind of, if you're a little off, it still kind of works. That's why so many people. I notice that like if you look at like quiet cosplay, a lot of it is just very like she can look like a lot of people. She almost has a very kind of good general face that you can kind of see in many people. That's also kind of important for a video game character. If you notice, like Snake has a very you can tell what tell it is Snake, but he also has a very kind of everyman sort of face. Like in other words, you can see a little bit of him in a lot of different people. A lot of if you notice, a lot of actors and stuff like that are kind of have those kind of every kind of not a generic face, but kind of that every person type of face. Like if you notice, like Chris Pratt kind of looks like a lot of other actors and stuff like that. It's because he kind of has that sort of face that kind of almost anyone can kind of see themselves into. Notice that like the more famous actors also don't have very like specific, like they have specific looks, but they don't have like overly specific looks. Like in other words, they don't have a big scar in their face or something that sets them apart from other people. And if you notice that the people that do have like specific sorts of faces, they often are kind of typecast as roles like bad guys and stuff like that. Like if they have a really kind of pointy face, you notice that they'll end up playing a bad guy. Like a guy like Mads Mikkelsen, right? Mads Mikkelsen kind of looks like he looks a little scary. He looks a little bit like he's got something, like he looks shifty. So if you notice, he mostly, for the most part, he plays a lot of bad guys. It's rare when you see a guy like him playing a good guy. But a guy like Norman Reedus, he has a specific sort of face, but he also has kind of almost an everyman type of an every person type of face. So you notice that he ends up playing a lot of good guys. It's rare when he'll play a bad guy. And then there's characters that kind of, not characters, but it's kind of people that kind of subvert those ideas, where they can either play a bad guy or a good guy. So that means that but they also tend to cast these people as kind of like gray area sort of characters, where they're they could be kind of a, like an anti-hero. Just a little dark. So let me just move this out of the way here. Like it's rare when you see like a guy like Will Smith, again another person who's kind of has a bit of an everyman sort of face, play a bad guy. A lot of times, actors like that don't want to play bad guys or heavies, as they like to call them. Kind of asked this before. I'm like wondering what got Stephanie Houston this job as this character. I'll see you later, Teddy. Hopefully, if I'm here, definitely here. Definitely drop back in and see what I'm up to. All right, you know, have a good time at whatever you're doing, and I'll see you later. But I'll be here. Okay. Still trying to figure out her hair a little bit. It's a little difficult. Barry Burton says I was a bad guy for a bit, but only because Wesker threatened my family. Give me back my family, in a Harrison Ford voice. Wouldn't it be one if I read it in a Wesker voice, in a Barry Burton voice? It would be like, I was a bad guy once, for a bit, but it's because Wesker threatened my family. Was that a good one, Jossie? No? You're busy. Yeah, I got a thumbs up. You were almost a Jill sandwich. A Jill sandwich. Now in a Krang voice. Sup, Putties Gaming? How's it going? We are now Twitch affiliates. Yay! Thanks, man. We we've been at this for doing it for a while. I mean, you've been an affiliate for a while now, right? Because you do lots of streaming. Okay, you're gonna see me do some stuff. Yeah, one thing about us trying to do like Twitch stuff is it's just really difficult to kind of get the time to do these things, especially for me, which I'm working like 90% of the time, and all the things that I do is very time sensitive. Not time sensitive, but like it's like sensitive subjects as far as like it's a project that I've never that hasn't been announced yet, or they're not ready to show, and it's not really okay to show that sort of stuff. So I'm usually just kind of functioning alone, and you know, and then whenever I get a chance to do something outside of it, then I can actually stream it. But also at least for these sorts of streams, like Throwdown Plays, I try to also kind of tilt them a little bit more toward video game related sort of things. So last time I did this, it was for Spider-Man. I was doing a print of Spider-Man from the new game. So being Spider-Man obviously is a game character now. So I drew the Insomniac version of the character for the stream. It was a mighty 10 hour stream, that one. I streamed all night. because I, had the deadline of New York Comic Con. So, but I managed to get it done and get it all nicely printed by a place over here that I usually go to, and it was all good. Honey Gaming says, I definitely understand. I understand. I definitely know what you mean. LOL. As long as long as you have some main schedule events slash podcast at the same time, you can random with the rest. I do get a lot. Uh, I do get a bit of that stream was nice. Oh yeah, I did get into some of that stream. It was nice, and damn, it was long. Yes, it was very long. But it also, if you think about it, it also kind of gives you an idea of how long it takes to do this sort of stuff. I mean, you got to realize, like, art takes a while. I mean, there are some people out there that are amazing and can do things in less than 5 minutes. And then, there are some people, that just have to slog through everything, That's just the way it is. Well, you can't really, sometimes you just can't rush this sort of stuff. It took me a while to actually ink it. And here's the thing, like for me, like while I'm doing it, actually doesn't feel that long. I feel like I'm moving pretty fast, which is interesting. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking we're good. We have a good we have a good start. So maybe we could start inking this thing. Cause yeah, it's looking pretty cool. She kind of looks like, it's not a full on um, rendering or caricature of her, but it's close enough. I'm not looking for total realism for this character, for total spot on realism to make it look exactly like Stephanie Houston, but I wanted to get it as close as possible so you know who it is. All right. And you'll see what these little blocks are and all these other fun things. All right, so let's get to inking. Hmm. I tend to like to use a number 3. For inking. I mean, normally I would ink with a brush, but I don't know where my brush pens are. They might still be in my bag and stuff like that. So actually, yeah, I might use this one too. I probably should. This is a brush pen. This is this right here. So I might use that for the blacks of the character on the character. Maybe I'll use this one too. It's another brush pen. Brush pens, stuff like that. I usually use Copic markers. I've kind of learned I really kind of enjoy them. I'm just gonna test a couple of these things to see how they look, because I don't know if some of these have enough ink in them. So yeah, just a little bit here just to test it. Yeah, this one's a little dry. Let's see how this one looks. Yeah, it's kind of run, it's coarse, that one. So we'll keep that one aside. Maybe if I want to do some dry brush stuff. Again, another one that's not showing up very well. Yeah, this one might need to be dumped. Let's throw that aside there. Sometimes I don't check these, I try to check all my utensils to see if they're good. But, again, another dry one. Yep, you can see it's dry. Let's see. So that's 2 dry brush pens. This one's dry too. See? There's replacements you can buy for these. Replacement. I think I have a replacement one for one of these. Ah, yeah, here we go. Oh, you know what? I could theoretically replace all of them because I have these 2 extra like ones. So yeah, let's see. Let's check this one. This one's a Copic one. I can't switch this one out. Or Copic as some folks like to call it. Huh. Alright. Yeah, let's do it. So right now we're just going to replace this. Alright. I just put a new one in. Give it a little shake, get that ink flowing. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Now it's looking a little perfect. Still a little dry. Ah, nice. One thing about this sort of paper, it's a little gritty. So it kind of, sometimes you'll get a little, if you're, it doesn't, sometimes you'll get a little bit of the grit of the paper in your ink. That's okay. Sometimes it's fine. If you want to go for like a quick stroke, it's like that, you won't get that much. You'll get a little bit of a dry technique on it. You can go slower, you can get a nice little stuff like that. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. Rami Def, Tony says use that India ink. It's not India ink. If it were India ink, I'd be using a totally different thing here. We're just using brushes. But here's a good chance to actually show off this guy. This is essentially what is called like Pro White, right? And it's also the reason why I use this sort of paper. It's because you can get some really cool, like, especially on white paper, you can't see this sort of stuff, but on this paper it actually looks really cool. You can get some nice effects off of it. See? So I'm going to use a little bit of that. Probably should get some water to kind of loosen it up a little bit, but that's okay. I'm just doing it live. I might just quickly wash off this brush just to clean it a little bit. There you go. It's all clean now. But yeah, usually if I were using India ink, Tony, you'd probably see me dipping into an inkwell. But for these sorts of commissions, I just kind of do, when I'm at the conventions, I just use pens because it's a lot easier for me. But yeah, so now we know that this one works. It works out really nicely. You can kind of create some really cool effects. Good. And this is the one that is a little dry. Hey, what's up, Minnie? So we might use that too. All right, so let's get to inking. My hand's a little wet, so I'm gonna wipe it off. Might use a glove if I still have one. Yeah. Probably don't need to have this open anymore. You being an ass, Tony? That's surprising. Okay. So yeah, we'll see how this works. Move a lot of these things off to the side. Back in the day, I used to do a lot of brush inking work. As the years have gone on, I've kind of gone more digital. But it's kind of, and I feel like it's nice to get back to that stuff. You just work out slowly. Head looks a little bit off. I'm gonna fix that. Hey Tony, how many followers do we have right now on our Twitch? I guess Tony stopped watching. It's okay. 206 follows. Thanks, Barry Burton. Sounds good to me. Baby steps. It's looking pretty decent. One thing about a brush is you can get incredibly thin lines if you have a steady hand. So you can get away with you can get really nice thin little spidery lines if you have a good handle on it. I used to always ink with a brush back in the day. Again, I started doing a lot more digital stuff because it became a little easier. You don't need to scan your stuff in. There's also like a lot of things that happen when you scan things in. Sometimes there's a distortion that happens from scanning certain things. Even the distortion of the paper itself will also affect the quality of the scan. But the one thing about doing original artwork on paper is the fact that you can actually sell the original artwork. As opposed to just, you know, just having one digital file. You can sell the original. That's why a lot of comic artists still do all their artwork on paper. It's because they can sell the original artwork for way more than they actually were paid to do the job. So guys like Todd McFarlane, who probably still own a lot of their artwork, they sell it off just to kind of make the additional money. But a lot of artists these days are moving toward digital because of how easy it is to do it. But also it leaves an open spot for how, especially when it comes to certain artists, that their work doesn't hold the same quality physically as it does digitally, because obviously you can infinitely fix everything, you know. So then you notice that sometimes some artists can't. Their work when they actually draw on paper looks way different than the stuff that they perform digitally, because they constantly are trying to hone and fix the lines. You can do that almost infinitely on a computer, whereas when you do it on paper, that's it, one and done. I mean, you can fix it with some Pro White or something like that, or clean up your line art. But yeah, a lot of people just do it when they do digitally. They're so dependent on the undo button. And granted, I use quite a lot of digital, and I tend to hone my lines and stuff like that, and fix them until they're the way I want them to. But there's also those really great happy accidents that happen when you're working physically like this, or I'll mess up, but hey, it might look really cool when it's done. Also on this image, I'm gonna do some cool little use some markers and stuff on it to kind of make it look nice, give her some shading, something like that. Okay, well, let's make sure you guys can see it good. It's not a bad version of her. I don't know if I would say for myself. Kind of looks like her, I would say. Let's see what y'all are saying. Thanks, Undies Gaming, or Fonzie. Oh, see, there you go. One of those happy accidents on my fingers here. But you know what? I can also use those things. If you ever look at Mr. Shinkawa, he tends to do a lot of cool little ink effects with his fingers and stuff like that. So you might see me twirl this image around a little bit. I'm not I'm not entirely perfect at this sort of stuff. A lot of times you want to get a good a good line. So sometimes you can't do it just being straight like this. You have to kind of rotate the image a little bit to get the angle that you want. So yeah, I feel like this stuff. Also, one thing to do also is when you're inking, you don't you do use your wrist a little bit, but also you want to be able to you also have to use your you can use your shoulder. You use your shoulder and you can get nice clean lines. You know, the way I kind of express it is that it's like you're making the stroke before your arm or your hand starts to shake. And when you do this stuff on long enough, you actually kind of figure out where your tolerance point for when you start to shake is. You know, I know exactly what strokes will make me start to shake a little bit. But yeah, for this stuff, you have to kind of stroke before you kind of start to shake. Because I mean, the slower you go, the more you start to your lines will start to shake around. But I know kind of which ways in my hand work where I don't actually start to shake a little. Inking for people is a little bit of I want to say some people kind of are afraid of it if they mess up. One thing about it is that you just don't be try not to be too afraid of messing up. You know, because the whole fear of it all tends to get to you. See, like right there. And then also, if you can't do a full stroke, some people can do like an instant like stroke like that. Let me see. Did you see that? Yeah. Some people can just do an instant stroke like, and then it'll be perfect. What they perfectly exactly what they wanted. For me, sometimes I have to do a little bit of a, and try to continue the line around so that it still happens. It's like for this, yeah, I'll do that. And also, while I'm doing this, I'm also adding all kinds of little bits and bobs to it to kind of make it. Because I'm essentially what I'm doing. I'm not tracing what I'm doing. I'm more redrawing. The minute you start to trace something, the minute that starts to look like a tracing, you have to kind of make it almost look like it's a new drawing. It is essentially a new drawing based on what's there. So eventually I'm going to start erasing my original line art. You can see better what I did. Have you used to, do you draw, Fonzie? Or have you drawn? I don't know. I didn't know you could draw. But then again, everybody can draw to an extent. Some people say, yeah, you can't draw. You can draw. Most people can draw. With practice, you can become better at drawing. Oh, you used to draw when you were little. I think everybody drew when they were little. I think some people just decide they're going to take it a little bit further. Yep, anyone can draw. I mean, some people are very more receptive to actual things like that, but I think with certain amounts of practice and things, you can get quite better at drawing. When I first met Chris, Chris Seeley from the show, he was he's gotten better as an artist as the years have gone on. And I mean, I think for him, one of the frustrations is that because he does know a lot of the techniques and stuff, and then it's not, and implementing it kind of frustrates him sometimes. But I think with practice, I think a lot of people can get better, because all a lot of art is just kind of iteration, you know, an iteration of an iteration of an iteration. The more you do something, the better you get at it. But there's some people out there that are just amazing, right out the bat. Like, in other words, they can do anything that they have in their mind. And I know some people that are like that. It just amazes me. Where it's just like, for me, there's a whole process that goes into creating this stuff, right? But for them, like a friend of mine named Jen, and another, like some of the artists that you see online, like this one Korean artist who just instantly just draws everything, just like without even doing any sort of construction. That sort of stuff amazes me, because it's like I don't even understand exactly how it works. Even Shinkawa, the artist who draws for Metal Gear, I don't like the way he works. I don't fully comprehend how that guy works. I can create something similar to what his work looks like, but I don't, to the essence of what he does, I can't do. Like, just sometimes he'll just start from a weird part of the body and stuff like that. I don't. I usually just start from, I kind of work a whole image at the same time. And again, for me, one thing I tend to do is whenever I draw is I don't concentrate too much on one aspect of the character of the thing. I kind of work everything out as as one. Like, so you see, I just drew her side there, and then now I'm just kind of drawing a little bit of those the tassels of her top there. I try to work everything at the same, kind of jump around on different things to kind of keep the consistency. Because obviously, they'll get to those points where you've worked so much on that one part, and then when you get to the rest of it, you just end up being not tired, but just you don't feel like doing it. So that's what I try to do. I try to move around a little bit to kind of evenly ink everything or evenly draw everything. Yeah, I don't know how this. Let's look at this thing. These weird shoulder things. Not weird shoulder things. They're kind of just military, some sort of military shoulder pad or something like that. So yeah. Let's see what folks is saying. Well, for Jack, for Jack, guys like Jack Kirby, he's so in, he so knows his work so well that he knows where exactly he has a full visualization of what he is. Sometimes, yeah, like you can start with a random portion of a character like a foot or a hand, but a lot of times artists will do that just for focus, like to like okay, if the foot is the like let's see, for like the foot or the hand is like the part, right, that's uh, showing. A lot of times they'll start with that first. But for Jack, he was so knowledgeable of his own work. He could instantly just he already knew what he was going to draw. Sometimes you don't know where you're going to draw. Sometimes you gotta like for me. Sometimes I have to figure it out on the page. Like for this picture of Quiet, I kind of didn't know what I was going to do. You know. So I just kind of figured it out as I was going along. The person that requested uh, the person that requested this didn't actually ask for anything specific he wanted Quiet doing. He just said he wanted an image of Quiet with her like black eye makeup on, which I'm going to do a little bit something different with this. You see that I have it drawn in. I'm actually going to do that with some something else. I'm going to use some markers on her to kind of do that. So it's not going to be in. I might do it in ink. I just haven't decided yet. So I'm thinking at least right now. I'm thinking I might want to do it with uh, with a different medium with a marker, but we'll see.
Konami, close your window.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, guys. Can I turn the air conditioner on for a little bit?
Sure. I'm gonna take a bath.
Okay. Sup, Gator? How's it going? Subgator asks, what method do you prefer more, traditional or digital? It's all relative. It really doesn't matter what I'm using. Digital is just a tool, uh, so I use whatever is available to me. It's all just tools. I mean, there's a lot of things about digital that make things easier, but I mean, I've been known to just use, cheap materials. It's like whatever you need, whatever you can use to get the thing that you have in mind out, and that's pretty much the way I work with it. Like there are some artists out there when you tell them what kind of things that you use, and they're like, "Oh man, you shouldn't be using that," right? I don't actually say that to anybody because one thing about art, there is no right way. You know, there's people I know that just use what do they call it? Ballpoint pen on their work. I'm not going to tell that person to stop doing the ballpoint pen for one reason, because they are a lot of times people are using the things that are available. Obviously, there are things that make things easier for you, and I would suggest, hey, yeah, if you want to make things, you want to do it like that, that's great. But for me, I wouldn't tell them that's the right way to do it or the wrong way. To me, it's the artwork that matters. It's not what materials that you use. So yeah. So yeah, you're gonna see me erasing soon. We're getting close on this one. And then I'm gonna do some ink stuff, some additional ink stuff, maybe kind of get it nice. Do some little ink effects, whatever. Little X's on here are kind of are just little reminders for me to just that these things are going to be inked in. Really quickly, I'm gonna go get a ruler. So, a lot of you out there think, oh, because I'm using a brush or a brush pen, that I can't use a ruler. But there's actually a fun little secret to that, and I'll show you right now. So, obviously, if you have your little ruler out here, notice that the brush pen, it's not really a pen tip, right? You can see that. Well, and if you were to run this against the end of the end of this ruler, you'll probably get the ruler all black from the ink. Well, there's a little secret to that. So what you do is you kind of turn your ruler slightly sideways like this, and then what you use so it's above where your little tip of the ruler is. This also works with real brushes. I'll show you right here. So like obviously you see this brush right here, right? You notice that if I were to put this there, the brush will turn the thing black and it'll leak everywhere. What you do is you put it a little bit off, so that the it's touching the metal part above where the actual tip of the brush is. And then what you do is you'll make your line like that. So you can kind of create organic lines using the brush. So, see? So you get nice straight lines, and then you don't mess up your thing, and you also get an organic, kind of an organic line where it's like not fully straight. It's straight enough. See? And that's a way to make straight lines with the brush. And why am I talking about this now? Because of this. So I have these fun little elements, little graphical elements on the sides that I'm going to do. Just kind of balance out the image a little bit, and I wanted to use this to do that. And what you do is you never really start when you do lines. Always go from top to bottom, or left to right, or in the direction that your hand is going, away from your where you're drawing. So what I'm going to do is, as I go down, this one is going to be the one that dries, and then I won't mess up this one because I haven't drawn yet. So there we go. Okay. So obviously, I didn't draw such a really good line there, really strong line. See, and that's how you do it. And what you do is for here, same way. Have your ruler tilted up a little bit. You get to draw a nice straight line. Same here. Let me move my iDroid out of the way. Same here. Just keep it up a little bit, and then do it down. Doing these. So you get nice kind of organic lines, like organic straight lines with your brush. Granted, these lines are probably not exactly straight, but that's okay. We're trying to do something a little bit more, not too straight, just enough. And then you always go left to right. There you go. So yeah, I'm going to just put a little X on this one, a little X on that one, so I know I am going to ink that in. For the Zona vendors, I can't actually do prints for those. Those are actually owned by Konami. I was hired by Konami to do the Zona vendors things. So I can't sell them or anything like that. If anything, I could make you some, because I know you. But other than that, yeah, I can't actually print them and do anything like that. I would have to talk to Konami about that, and I haven't actually officially talked to Konami about it. So I don't want to start making prints of things and then having them send out a copyright strike to me because of something. So yeah. Kind of have to be careful about these sorts of things. You got to realize when you do fan art and stuff like that, you and everybody else is beholden to the original company. If those guys feel like asking you to stop or telling you to do this stuff, officially they can, because it's all within their rights to do those sorts of things. You know, so remember that when you're drawing fan art, and posting them online. It also can be incredibly difficult when you're doing fan works. It also can be incredibly difficult when you're doing fan works and your artwork gets stolen. Sometimes, if you notice, sometimes people's work gets thrown onto products. A lot of times, that's because especially when you put your work out there, and that can happen. A lot of times when it comes to eBay and stuff like that, and you ask for these sorts of things to be removed officially, because you're not the copyright holder, you can't get those things removed. You can't claim the actual copyright of the characters or anything like that. So I've had plenty of times when I've done artwork, and it's been printed on a shirt or printed on some sort of product, and I found it, and I'm like, I can't officially have it removed because it would have to be the copyright holder that has to do that. Officially, as an artist, you have the rights over the artwork, the usage of your artwork, but you don't have the rights of the characters if you're doing fan art. Here's the thing to know: at comic conventions, right? Um, at comic conventions, it is actually within the rights of all the different companies to say, no, you can't do that. You can't draw our characters without our permission. But the only reason why they don't do that is because obviously it makes a media explosion. You know, officially they can do that. They can say to every single person that's drawn a picture of Spider-Man or Wolverine or Mickey Mouse, any of those characters, those famous characters like that, and say, no, you can't do that. Pull it down. But yeah, again, they don't do it because it makes their lives, you know, obviously the backlash happens onto them. So a lot of times, what these companies will do is they'll try to work with people, or they kind of look the other way. But especially when you start making millions off of their licenses and stuff like that, obviously you have to start talking to them. If you're making millions off of it, they want a piece of that. And the other thing, a lot of times when they'll come after you, is if they have a new product that's coming out, right? That's based on their franchises or something like that. And what they want the first thing to be searched. That when you do a search on them, they want the first thing you see to be their stuff, not your stuff. So if you notice, like a lot of those, especially with Konami, you notice a lot of those video games have been canceled and stuff like that. Those kind of fan games. It's usually because they want um, their stuff to be the thing to be looking at, for people to be looking at, not some fan project. It's the unfortunate reality of doing this stuff, you know. There's actually a really good YouTube video by the lawyer at Deviant Art who talks about all of this. Yep. Again, like normal people on the street won't know this. Like, hey, they make a picture of Mario and they put it on a T-shirt and stuff like that. Thing about it is that you know Nintendo, Nintendo is within Nintendo's right to say no, you can't do that. Sorry. And some companies obviously are more antsy about this stuff than others. Some companies will use companies like with when my work with Konami will use people, artists, and the fans and stuff like that. Hire them to do work for them. as opposed to kind of letting them, um, as opposed to just doing it. Because a lot of times when it comes to that sort of stuff, it helps their social media presence. So a new game comes out, they want to get people to kind of more interested in it, so they'll hire a fan artist or a professional artist to do some artwork for them to promote the game. And this is, I've this has happened more than once. I have worked for Konami. I've done work for 2K Games, on the Bioshock franchise, like to promote the Bioshock re-release. But these are all like mostly things for social media to kind of promote them online, get people interested. And a lot of this stuff works. People, sometimes it reminds people like, oh, hey, this thing's coming out and it's a really cool piece of artwork. They can kind of favor it or put on their thing. So yeah, it's actually not a bad quiet. I'm quite impressed with this, if I don't say so myself. So there you go. It's looking pretty damn good, if I don't say so myself. Disney, well, they're if you heard like years ago, I want to say maybe in the 90s, Disney sued a New York city, what do they call it? Uh, Daycare center, because they were using Disney characters on the side of their thing, and the Disney and the what do they call it? The daycare center lost, so they had to remove all the Disney characters from their thing. Now it's like, okay, Disney, we know it's within your rights to do that sort of stuff, but also at the same time, it just really looks bad. It just makes you look like Big Brother or something like that, like really bad to the community. People who don't know these things. It's funny how, like, when it comes to copyright, how protective big companies are of their properties, but yet artists themselves don't have that sort of protection. If somebody decided to use something that I created, and being I don't have a lot of money as an individual, there's a good chance that person may end up stealing my work because I don't have the financial backing to stop that sort of behavior. All right. So yeah, we're done with this now. We're gonna do some little bits of noodling and add some extra stuff to this. Where's my pens? There we are. So let's see. We're gonna go use a couple of really thin pens here to kind of do some fun detailing. I mean, granted, I can do a lot of this with my own with a brush, and which I may, but sometimes I want to get a little in there. This is 0.3, right? Yeah, that's actually a better 0.3 than my current one. So that's there. As you can see, I have a lot of 0.3s in here. 0.0, that's a 0.00 thing. Yeah, see this is a 1. And this is a really thin one. Yeah. Alright. We're just gonna add some little bits of stuff here and there. The Throwdown show, I guess that it's actually Tony now. Yes, I do want to make an icon of Tony's head. You guys know, come on, you guys would totally use a Tony head icon over and over again. You know that, right? I was thinking of another one which was just said Call of Duty on it, because obviously we do that little Call of Duty little thing. I was thinking of that one as well as an icon, as a fun little icon to put on the show, well, as a special icon. Whenever we do, whenever we get the, get something from the one guy who likes us saying that, we get that one in there too. But we will see how that goes. It's got to be something fun and iconic. Obviously, I would want to put a Metal Gear emoticon to put in there. Maybe maybe a couple of other, maybe a little Dark Souls thing, or maybe Brett's soapbox. Just as just a soapbox that says Brett on it or something. When he gets on his soapbox. Barry Burton, did you just subscribe? Oh man, I'm disappointed that you weren't already subscribed. You didn't love us, even though you are our official Twitch guy. You keep an eye on our Twitch. Keep all the folks in line. I'm not sure why I'm using this to do that. Usually when you ink stuff, you use a kind of a raggedy brush, like fill in black. So I'm going to use this guy here instead. Really, you don't think Barry Burton? You didn't think you could subscribe even though you were before we were affiliates? Huh? I didn't know. Let's see. I'm gonna subscribe now on my own. No, you could follow it. I was following this thing before. You hit the little heart button. It's gonna be a hard one to, as far as building building the Twitch, but we're down now. We're in it. So now it's just a matter of keep going, right? There you go. It's looking cool to me. Let's see any other little bits and bobs I can add to this. Okay. You turned the music off, dear.
Yeah.
You need to concentrate.
I can turn it back on. There you go. Because Mary can't hear it because the air conditioner's on.
I could hear a little bit. There you go. All right. So now we're just gonna take this in a little. That's a little line there. Alrighty. So now we're gonna fill in these little squares here and here. And then I'm still haven't decided whether I'm going to shade in these with black or maybe go in with a dark ink color. But we'll find out soon enough because I'm almost in that point now. Let's see what the chat says. Yep, I have a lot of artwork that we can we can use to kind of fill out those little things. I mean, also, you know, maybe we'll do a little vote on Twitter to see what things that you guys might want too. You know, I vote for Tony's head, to be honest. Just like if Torrance was a little bit bigger on Twitch, I would I would want a Torrance Davis icon. Him making like a really dopey face or something. That'd be awesome. Tony, you don't realize it, but you are kind of our mascot. You know that's actually yes. You know that actually is a good idea. We pick out we try to figure out which ones that people might want, and I can actually do them on the show. That'd be cool. Like we just do a live stream of the icon getting drawn. Might be fun to watch, right, guys? Wouldn't it be awesome if we had it like would it be awesome if we have like a Torrance Davis one? Or like Torrance has you know like the father from Fresh Prince of Bel Air as one of his emote icons. You want to do a Torrance one? All right. So let's take a couple of seconds and test some markers because, excuse me, some of these markers are a little bit on the dry side. So this is C4. That one's a little dry. I use a lot of these markers for conventions. Actually, let's take this out for now. We can put that there so you guys can still see her. This one's good. T5 is good. C5. T4. That one's actually pretty good. That's a warm gray. So if you see, you can actually probably see the differences here. This is a warm gray and this is a cool gray. That's what or a tan gray. That's what these little numbers on the back of these Copic markers say. This is T0. T0 is kind of a really light color, a light gray color. But again, it's another tan. A little weak, that one. T4. This one's probably good too. Yeah, that's a good one. Let's keep that there. That's there. This is probably a T1, a C1. So this is a cool gray. It's a little bit weird. Yeah, it's a dry one. T4. As you can see, I like T4. And another one that's really good. This is another T4. Again, very good. Yeah, nice. There. This one is T4 too. It's good. This one's T2, Judgment Day. This one's probably dry. Oh yeah, T2 is good. T2 is one I use a lot. So put that there. This is another T4. Man, I got a lot of these T4 markers. Yep, that's good. So sometimes for these situations, I tend to use a lot, I tend to use grays with limited color. So I'll show you what that looks like. Sometimes I have like 3 colors of red, blue, and green. So sometimes if a person has a character in mind that has a little bit accents and stuff like that, I'll use these in here too. To kind of like, if a person has red lips or something like that, it kind of looks cool. See? So that's that. And I tend to keep them together. Yeah, there you go. Red, blue, and green. I used to have a yellow, don't have that anymore. And then I also have this marker, which is great. It's a paint marker. You can actually use this to draw on all kinds of stuff like pants and shoes and stuff like that. It's good if you want to use it over some other color. I'm actually going to take a short break. I have to go to the bathroom. So I'll be right back. So getting a little cool in here, right? Hello guys, I am back. Yeah. Let's see what you guys have been saying in the chat. Let me put my spectacles on because this thing. Oh, Barry's leaving. Night, Barry. Alrighty, so we're just going to do some more erasing here. I want to keep this little penciled in version of her. I don't know what that is on her eyes. What do you know, look like a butterfly or something. I don't know what it was. Oh, my hands were a little wet. Anyway, yeah, I have no idea what that little butterfly thing was on her. Anyway, so let's see. Let's do some. Let's figure out what we might want to do with this lighting here. Might be cool if we do let's do some fixing on her ears here because I'm a little, yeah. So yeah. So here's a weird fun fact about ears. Did you know that every single person's ear is unique? Just like people's fingerprints. And they can also be used as a form of identification. And in forensics, they actually use that sometimes to identify a person. So if you ever see sometimes they'll do from a from video, like in surveillance videos and stuff like that, to kind of compare to see if a person is the same person. They usually look at their ears to see if they're, as well as their fingerprints, obviously, to kind of tell if they're the same person. All right. So now, let's see. What are we gonna do? I want to maybe do some shadow work on her. So I'm gonna use maybe a tan, a tan gray on her. And what I'm gonna do is, let's just show you right here, kind of quickly draw in her shadows, the shadows I want to use on her face, and then do a little go in and with this tan gray and kind of fill it in, something like that. Okay. And that's pretty much what I was going to do. Still, again, haven't decided whether or not I want to do the eyes with a black or anything like that, but I'm going to do the shadows first before I even touch that. But what I'll do is I'll clean it up a little bit so that it's nice. So it's nice and slick. And yeah, I don't know. I don't exactly know. It always looks like a butterfly to me, like a morpho butterfly pattern. So I'm gonna keep that. And then we're gonna go in and I'm gonna do a little more details in here, like that. There you go. All right. What does the chat say? Sup, Riku-san? I'm gonna go in and do some shadow work on her. I'm gonna maybe put the light from here to kind of give her a little bit of that. So we're gonna do some of that. Doing very light work on here. Can barely see it, I'm guessing. That's just more for me. I'll do a rim light later on. Alright. Pencil. Maybe I'm gonna do more like. Let's see. I'll do a little more shadow work. Again, trying to keep it really light, because once I go over with the pencil, I will not with the marker. I won't actually be able to erase it much. So just some light work in here. I'm being really careful on this on the skin.
Hey.
That noise is our cat opening a door. If you heard that. Yeah, he's attempting to open the door. Because our cat is like a raptor and can open doors. So imagine having that in the middle of the night. You're trying to fall asleep, and then the cat literally tries to open the door, and he does. He can open the door.
Because there's a handle.
Yeah, there's a handle on the door, and the cat, our cat, weighs what, 20 pounds now?
Yeah.
He weighs 20 pounds, so it's just enough to pull the hand. Him hanging on it is just enough to pull the door handle down enough in order for him to walk through the door. Wonderful, right?
It's a big old fucking asshole.
Yeah, he's a big asshole.
Like, imagine trying to sleep like at 2 a.m. in the morning and you hear that.
Yeah.
He's not like quiet about it. He's just grabbing, shaking it. It sounds like someone's trying to break into the bedroom.
Yeah,
it's like you have an intruder. Like, oh my god.
We do have an intruder. It's the cat. Right. He's busting in.
What an asshole.
There are times when we've also found, like, when we've left for a day and we've found some of the doors open because we forgot to lock them when we left. We found our door to the office and our door to our room open because of the cat. He just opens the door. Cats are smart. Some people think cats aren't smart, but they are smart. They want something, they're gonna get it, some whatever way they can.
I remember telling my therapist because I get mad
Mhm.
at the cats,
Mhm.
and I had to tell her. She's like, oh, they don't know any better, and blah blah. I'm like, are you kidding me? This cat is smart, and it's only like cats have the intelligence of like a 4-year-old. So like,
Mhm.
it's like they know what they want. They'll get it.
Yeah. All right.
It's like fucking shit.
All right. It is gray time. So yeah, as you see, going in and I'm doing some grays on her. Oh, thanks a lot. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I hear a noise. Tony, what was that thing that just happened? Copic markers get a really nice, almost watercolor feel to them. It's one of my favorite markers to use. I used to use these a lot of different types of markers back in the day. Tony can tell you. I used to carry a whole bunch of markers with me when my book bag used to be filled with markers. It was my art bag. And I always used to bring my markers with me whenever I used to go to his place. I just never knew whenever we were going to draw. Me and Tony used to do these things in the summer. We call them. I would call them the. We would kind of call them the summer project, right? A lot of times it'd just be like us going to the copy place and doing kinds of cool little art projects. We we've talked about it multiple times where we had a video game that we were wanted to make. Obviously, we didn't know how the first thing about how to make a video game, and the video game was literally just a rip off of all of our favorite fighting games at the time. It was like Marvel versus Capcom meets Mortal Kombat and all kinds of other fun stuff. One year, our project was, Mortal Kombat 3 had just come out, and we wanted to like what you used to do at school. We used to do at school is like you used to be able to sell. We would sell like move lists for the arcades. So it'd be like 25 cents, right? So, but my idea was, why don't we make our move list that we sell a little bit cooler? What if we did some artwork to go with them? So, you laughing, right, dear?
I remember you told me this story, and I'm like, that's genius.
Yeah, like as opposed to just giving somebody a move list that everybody else could have, everybody has the move list, but our move list had cool like Mortal Kombat art with it. So me and Tony split up our efforts. So I took one batch of characters. He took another batch of characters. Also, for those of you who didn't know, Tony actually could. Tony actually was a pretty decent artist in those days. He kind of gave it up because it was just frustrating him. But yeah, he had some art chops. All right, that looks cool. Looks very quiet. All right. Let's just give her a little. So give her a little shade in her eye. We'll do up some fun stuff with her, with her, um, with her. We're gonna do another level of grays and stuff like that on her to kind of bring it together. Sup, so dup? How's it going? You've never used Twitch before? Don't feel bad. I still do. I'm still figuring this thing out too. Alrighty. So let's see. Doing some little bits of shading here and there. Kind of again really love Copic markers. That was a little too much, wasn't it? It's okay. Ooh, this thing's throwing out a lot of ink, isn't it? Whoa, whoa, whoa. All of a sudden, this Copic marker wanted to throw out a bunch of bunch of pigment for some reason. You guys saw that. So yeah, back to the story about me and Tony and uh, our little summer projects. So yeah, the Mortal Kombat one was just us like, yeah, why don't we just make ours better and just like have cool different have some cool artwork with it. So me and Tony would split up the duties. We picked up some of our, yeah, obviously we picked our favorite characters because I've always liked Scorpion, and he's been like he's always like a Sub-Zero guy. I think it pretty much comes from his, his like of Ryu, because Ryu and Sub-Zero's move are essentially the same thing, down, forward, and punch. I think that's part of the reason why he liked that. He's specifically like that because he liked the kind of Hadouken-ish characters. And I always dug Scorpion, so I took Scorpion. He took Sub-Zero. I took. I think I got. Which ones did I get? I think I might have drawn Cabal. I don't know. And I think he did Shiva. So we have a whole. There's a whole bunch of those little, like a whole bunch of like of that old artwork that we still, both of us still have. At least I think Tony kept all of it. So, yeah, fun stuff. And then the other one was the video game that we wanted to make, which was called Dimension Warriors. Yeah, it was Dimension Warriors that we wanted to make.
Dimension Warriors?
Yes, Dimension Warriors.
That sounds badass.
Yes. So there was all kinds
of. Totally like a '90s like.
Oh yeah, it was totally 90s. It was totally 90s, like pouches and shit, all that stuff. Like we had just like Mortal Kombat, we had like we had the final boss was like a guy who would like taunt you all the damn time, tell you how much of how weak you are and stuff, just like how Shao Kahn used to do. His name was Endorus, but his real name, okay, he had two names. His real name was, so his boss name was Prime Lord.
Prime Lord.
He was Prime Lord.
Oh my god.
He was Prime Lord, but he had another name, was Endrus. So he's the Prime Lord, and he was Endrus, the Prime Lord. And then there was he had what was it, like a boss monster, like before him, kind of like Goro, but it was like a werewolf with like a retractable hand.
Okay.
So he could shoot it. He could shoot it out at you and then like grab you backward, kind of like Scorpion and stuff. And each of it also being that it was like a dimensional characters, right?
Yeah.
We could have all kinds of kooky characters that didn't fit. So we had an ice character like Sub-Zero, but he was made of ice. And he had like a sister, or I don't know what she was, but it was like a girl version of him. I can't remember those guys' names. But yeah, we had all these characters were essentially rip-offs of other popular characters, kind of reconfigured around. And that's fun. And they had fatalities and all that other fun stuff too. And I think that was the only. I mean, that game was pretty much the product of all the things that me and Tony had really enjoyed at the time. We loved fighting games.
Did you play Primal Rage?
Yeah, we liked. I don't think we played Primal Rage as much, but we did play that one, and we had pretty much between us all. I mean, I had it for 3DO, Primal Rage.
So you had the one with the best graphics.
Yep, I had that one.
You were playing on fucking Sega Genesis like I was.
Yeah. Okay, so now the moment of truth. How will I portray Quiet's like stuff on her head, her things? Let's see. What do we got here? Do you have any more markers I could use to do it? You know what? T4. We're gonna go with T4. T4 will be it. It's kind of nice. I dig it. There you go. So now what we're going to do is, remember when I showed you this earlier in the stream? This is Pro White. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do some fun little accents with it on the character to kind of get her to look, you know, just little whites and stuff. What's great about this gray paper that I'm using is that it kind of lends itself to this stuff really well. So I'm going to do little bits here and there. And then we're going to test this thing. All right, so let me set her aside for now. And we're going to do this. Where's my brush? Perfect. So yeah, we're going to go in and we're going to take little bits of whites and stuff like that on it. Make it look cool. Maybe add some embers or something, because embers are awesome. Oh, actually, before we even start, let's do some more of this. I really want to give her a little bit of color to her lip. All right, now we're going to go in, we're going to use this Pro White, or as this one is called, White Ink, which is just Pro White. Give her a little highlight to her eye. Just make sure I don't have any ink on the bottom of my fingers, on my hands. Let's see. Might be cool. So you see how it kind of gives it that little bit of, looks really nice on the gray paper. Gives her a little bit of that sheen. Oh, it looks like she's, do a little on here to give it a little texture. Under normal circumstances, I probably wouldn't take this long to do something like this, but you know, being I have more time to do this, give this guy a little bit more work. You know, at convention you can't fully give everybody, you know, you can give everybody something nice, but you can do a little bit more when you're, you know, when you have the time and you don't need somebody to pick it up at a specific time. Gonna do a little bit of a rim light here. Let's see what the chat says. Maybe I'll do a little. Now this brush that I have here is actually not a great brush. It's a sable brush, which is actually a really good type of brush, but like, you know, type of brush to get. But this one doesn't get a really good point, if you can see that. It actually gives you, it kind of doesn't come out to a nice point like, let's say, a brush like this. This is another Winsor Newton series brush, and these brushes are watercolor brushes, and they get really good points at the end. You can get really nice stuff in there. But for these, this one is kind of a cheap brush that I bought, but it's also really good for stuff like this, because you want to use a little bit of a ratty brush with this stuff, because this kind of paint kind of ruins your brushes if you don't clean them good. So I just use a cheesy ratty brush when I use this, but you can get a nice point out of it if you like feel like this, where I can kind of make it flat, and then I can draw with the edge of it, so it gives you a nice little flat edge to work with. And then also she wears like a leather top, so I might want to give a little bit of accents to that as well. See? Let's see. Maybe give her a little bit of white in her hair. Again, this stuff pops up really nice with the white, with the paper, with the gray paper on it. Other normal circumstances, if you do this on white paper, you just kind of empty out things. So now I'm going to do some fun stuff. I'll be right back, and I think I'm going to wash the brush really quickly, and then maybe use some other white on it. So hold on for a sec. I'll be right back. I'm going to go wash this brush. Maybe, I'll see. So I'm thinking maybe of trying to do some white lines across the little negative space, these kind of black squares on there. So I'll show you. See, am I working on it? You see it? Yeah, there you go. I'm over here. So, and you know what? Maybe I won't clean the brush. Maybe I'll just go in and do it like this. Let's see. Again, remember what I told you before. You can use the ruler like at a kind of an angle. You can kind of create these nice, nice organic straight lines. See? All right. Jossie, Dimension Warriors.
Dimension Warriors.
As you know, with Quiet, she kind of has these. Whenever she appears, she kind of has these embers that shoot out of her. So, might be kind of fun to have these here. There you go. There you go. I think this is looking done. Maybe I'll do a little more shadows here and there, and let me wash this brush, and I think that'll be a done one. Be right back.
Oh my god.
All right, I'm back. So now, looks like we're good, but I'm gonna do a little bit more because I want a couple of things here. Did the lips. Maybe I want to add a little more shadow here. Get the inside of the ears here. Alrighty. Alright, let's. What's so funny?
This episode of Star Trek. See.
Oh, is that the old guy?
It's the admiral that turns younger.
Oh yeah, because he's.
Yeah, he has this weird disease or whatever. No, he's turning old, and then he wanted to be young again, and it ends up like killing him.
Silly admirals. But, yeah, he's got that bad old man makeup on.
Yeah. It's bad.
I'll fill in her eyebrow. It looks like I forgot to color that in. Oh, there you go. This one is going to go out to, let me see his name here. This guy's name is Peter James Freeman. And he paid me over at New York Comic Con to do this one. And I hope he likes it. There we go. Good stuff. Let me clean this brush off and we'll talk a little bit. So anyway, guys, what did we have any questions and stuff before we head out for today? I'm pretty much I'm actually done with this one. Oh, let me see. Got any little comments here? Let me see what people are saying here. Let's reload this. Um, glad you like it, Fonzie. Yeah, he got a good one. He got me on a good day. Most of the time, I'm really unhappy with the work that I've done at conventions. I actually hate most of the drawings that I do at conventions because I feel like I'm a little bit under the gun to do these things. But I think this turned out really good. I'm actually happy with it. But yeah, a lot of times I'm just like, oh God, oh my God, why is somebody paying me for this? This is horrible. But a lot of times, most people can't tell the one thing about art is that a lot of people can't actually tell the errors in your work. You know, you as the artist see your big errors better than anybody else does. So let's see. Let's see. Where's my glasses? This stupid thing's not doing it. Yeah, it's one of those things that you just like, as the artist, you're gonna see everything that's wrong with your work. A lot of times, again, most people don't see it. People buy work for different, get art and stuff like for a bunch of different reasons. Some it's just like they really want, they really like the idea by something. Sometimes it's just for the technique they're buying the actual art for. And it was actually kind of cool. I officially I'm always open for art commissions at conventions, but sometimes people don't really like when you don't say that you're open. A lot of times they don't actually um, think that you're gonna actually think that you're doing any sort of artwork. But so what I did was I said, just to kind of bring it home, kind of a deal. I tend to make a sign that specifically says open for commissions or open for sketches. One thing I do stay away from at conventions though is caricature drawings. I mean, granted, I can do caricatures and stuff of people, but it's a slippery slope when you draw a person's face, and I kind of tend to try to stay away from it a little bit because it can easily turn sour. You know, if you're just drawing kind of a goofy cat, like a established character or something like that, people can be quite critical of if you're drawing them. They're like, "Oh, that doesn't look like me." That's why you got to kind of give caricature artists a lot of credit because a lot of those guys they know just enough on how to make it look like a person, like the person that they're drawing, but also just enough away from it where they're kind of it's still where it still is a little bit generalized. And I don't trust myself too much to kind of do that, especially sometimes when when somebody gives you a picture of themselves and they're like it's at a bad angle and it's really difficult to get those things to look to look like them even when you're working with kind of really crappy reference. This is a gel pen. I'm just adding little bits here and there, kind of fun stuff. Yeah, so there we go. That is a finished drawing. Thank you for joining me for this affiliate edition of Throwdown Draws. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure to keep an eye out on our Twitch because we're going to be doing a lot more Twitch streams these days. Hope you enjoyed what I did. And yeah, I'll let you know when I'm going to be doing another stream again. And we're probably going to be doing a lot more fun stream stuff as far as gaming and, maybe some little conversational things. We're still in the process of thinking about all that sort of stuff. So stay tuned and thank you for watching.